Hey everyone, Liz here from the Nail Hub, and today we are going to talk about one of the most underrated but important tools that we use all the time when doing gel nails. That is gel cleanser. Gel cleanser is something that a lot of people don't even seriously think about, but it can play a huge role in the success or failure of your gel product services. So gel cleanser is something that primarily uses two core ingredients. You're going to find isopropyl alcohol, and you're also going to find acetone or some other acetone alternative. The reason why we use these two main ingredients is one, we want to kill bacteria on the nail plate and ensure that we have a clean, bacteria-free surface before we put any product on top. And we also want to strip oil and dehydrate the nail plate. That's where acetone comes into play. So having those two key ingredients in our gel cleanser allows us to do both things at once. Now, isopropyl alcohol is one of those things that comes in a lot of different formulations. Even me right here, I have 99% isopropyl alcohol. But in order for the alcohol to have a chance to actually kill bacteria, it needs to sit on the surface without evaporating away super quickly. This percentage, 99%, refers to the amount of alcohol versus water. So this formulation contains 1% water and 99% IPA. If we saw 70%, we would know that there's 70% IPA and 30% water. We sometimes have a hard time finding 70 or 90%, which are the ideal percentages for, again, allowing that isopropyl alcohol to sit on the nail without evaporating too quickly before it has a chance to kill bacteria. And if you're like me and you have a hard time finding sometimes those percentages in bulk, or if you're shopping online or shopping in your local pharmacy or drugstore, that 70% is probably sufficient for what we're going to do with it. If you can't find that and you can only find 99, you can actually dilute this down with distilled water. So that is something you can absolutely do. If you can only find 99%, you can dilute it down with distilled water and make it into a 90 or 70% concentration, okay? Now, how would I go about distilling down 99% alcohol? I would add about 1 part distilled water to 3 parts 99% IPA. That's going to get me closer to the range that I need, and it's also going to allow me to use less of my product each time I'm refilling my bottles. Acetone is also something that we use to remove our soak-off gel products. It's a great solvent that breaks down those bonds within our gel products and allows us to slough them off easily without having to e-file or hand file. And acetone, like I said, is a great product for stripping oils and also dehydrating the nail plate, which means getting rid of any excess water that might be in the nail plate that is going to cause a problem with lifting or any such issue that we might run into after we've already applied product on the nail. The reason why I like to make my own gel nail cleanser, or I'm very careful about which gel nail cleanser I purchase, is because not all of them are created equal. So my friend Jim McConnell, who is the chemist behind Light Elegance Nail Products, he actually showed me this experiment a few years ago, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I thought it was brilliant. And it's a great illustrative way to show you how different gel nail cleansers can behave differently. So I have a simple mirror here. Hello, you can see me in my mirror. And I have applied some cleanser onto this. I'm going to shine this right in your face for a second because I want you to be able to see these outlines here. These outlines are where I have applied gel nail cleanser and I have let it dry on the surface of a mirror. And I have a couple more down here. You'll see one here. And also I have one down here that's very, very difficult to see that is still in the process of actually drying. And it's an interesting experiment to do because sometimes the gel nail cleanser has so much water in it that it makes it extremely difficult to actually get that to evaporate completely and to show you what this actually looks like. So on this first one up here, this is my own handmade gel nail cleanser with just IPA, isopropyl alcohol, and acetone. And what I can do is I can rub across this cleanser and you'll see it doesn't leave any streaky residue. It's completely clean and dry and it will just polish right off. I can even use a nail wipe if I want to instead of my finger, but I like to see that there's no residue being left behind. You can see the edges of where it dried, but there's no oily residue here, okay? Up here, I have another sample where I can rub through this. And again, I want to see no streaky residue whatsoever, right? I don't want to see any oiliness or anything like that. Down here, you can also see one that dried with what looks like a little bit more of impurities. So it has more of an opaque white finish to it. I can easily see it on the mirror. And if I push my finger through this, you can see it leaves kind of a streaky result, as if it has some perfume or some oils or something in there. It's extremely common to see gel nail cleansers include some perfumes to make them smell good, as well as color additives to make them on brand with whatever brand is selling them. And sometimes they also contain some natural oils in order to create those scents. Normally that wouldn't be an issue if we're just using it for cleansing the finished nail when we're just removing the inhibition layer. We're not worried about introducing oil onto the nail if we're cleansing the nail after the fact. However, if we're using the same gel cleanser to prep our nail before product application, any of that residue is going to be present on the nail plate before we put product on, which can inadvertently lead to lifting or other issues. And this is one of those common situations where I have people tell me, Liz, I feel like I've prepped the nail perfectly. I'm dealing with this situation where as soon as I go to apply the base coat or the color, the product just pools in and pulls away from all of the edges. I don't understand what's going wrong. Or I feel like I did such a good job with my prep and my application, and these nails are lifting no matter what I do. In those two situations, I always ask, what cleanser are you using? And if they're using a branded cleanser, I immediately go and look at those ingredients to see if there are oils, perfumes, or color additives added into that cleanser that may be leaving a residue on the nail plate and causing some lifting issues. So this one definitely has a residue that's leaving on the nail plate if I were to use this as my nail prep product. This one up here is really bad. This one, I actually even rubbed it a little bit before because I was like, wow, this is super greasy. So let me show you how bad this can actually get depending on the cleanser. So this one absolutely is leaving an oily residue. It could be the perfumes, it could be natural oils that are added into this gel nail cleanser. And again, this gel nail cleanser may actually be made as a post-service cleanser to help moisturize the skin as well as remove the inhibition layer. But this is not a cleanser we want to be also using during our nail prep before we apply product. And then this one right down here on the very, very bottom, which I'm trying not to flash you guys on camera, this one actually is having a really hard time with drying. It's still wet, and when I touch it, it is just really struggling to dry. This one tells me that there's a lot of water in it, and this is something that is going to ultimately not dry completely by the time I go to put product on the nail, okay? So this mirror test is a great way to test out a cleanser and see, is this a cleanser I can also use for nail prep, or is this something I should only be using post-application when I'm just cleansing off the inhibition layer? So I have a quick recipe that I'm going to share with you guys about how I make my own nail cleanser. This is something that I've shared multiple times before, but I thought it would be very important to provide it one more time because this, like I said, is one of the most underrated products that we use on a regular basis, but it is one that can make a huge difference in the outcome of our services. So with my mix of 70 to 90% isopropyl alcohol, I usually like to use about 3 parts of that IPA and 1 part acetone. That makes a cleanser that I can not only use for post-product application where I'm removing and stripping that inhibition layer, that extra acetone will really help to break down any inhibition layer that's left over and get me a squeaky clean finish, as well as it's a great cleanser for doing the prep before I apply product. It's going to kill bacteria, it's going to dehydrate and strip oils, and it's going to leave me with a very perfectly chalky, dry nail that is ready for gel. So I hope this video helps you understand a little bit more about how gel cleanser can truly make a difference and also give you some information on how you can make your own gel nail cleanser at home or what to look for when you're purchasing gel nail cleansers out there in the nail market. I will be in touch again soon with another amazing video. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Bye.